Yo, what's good, everybody? This is your boy JTL, aka Out from the North 18. Got a special guest here. We was talking about some real stuff earlier. Go ahead and introduce yourself before we get this conversation started.
Hey everybody, my name's Taroos, repping Cleveland, Ohio, man. I'm just me.
And that roll with that. Uh, Talking about what we was talking about before. We was on What We Know podcast. Shout out to Rob. Shout out to JT. Uh, we was playing the audio about the whole I'm not Megan, but it had to do with the Megan and Tory case. And Kelsey was talking. It was her testimony to the prosecutor. Now, Taroos was bringing up some great points on the argumentative end of why Tory did what he did. He also brought up when it came to the way the jury found him. And our argument, me and Rob, was it's so much reasonable doubt. It makes it difficult for us to just agree that Tory's totally, what I'm saying, guilty or whatever. But see, when you can have a conversation logically and not argue about it, we all was able to come to the conclusion there is enough reasonable doubt why certain people disagree. You know what I'm saying? So maybe you can go ahead and talk a little bit about your stance on it, why you think that the jury came to a good conclusion that made sense for you.
So, one of the things that I had to do was I had to admit that I was actually wrong because I thought the whole prosecution's goal was at best to get a hung jury for some sort of like public backlash shit. So, this because typically what a case like this will lead to is the civil case. That's where we
Right.
get all the really sloppy details because those are the public trials, and all that happens is a civil case is what financial penalties and shit like that. Like the Johnny Depp shit. Um, so originally, I was thinking because of the length of time that it was going on, I'm like, okay, this has gotten way too far into the he said, she said bullshit. They ain't really got nothing. Nobody's keeping their story straight.
Right.
And then he was found guilty on all three counts. And then so I had to actually go back and look at all the evidence or all the stuff that I was reading previously and go, okay, this was wrong. This was just speculative. Okay, this was just a rumor. Okay, they got this right. And then I had to remember, bro, this is what happens when you try to when we try to do our own law within social media. Like
Mhm.
at the end of the day, we're not in the jury. We're not those 12 people in there. We're not the ones presenting the evidence. And we're not the ones who are under oath.
Right.
Because one thing I got to remind people is that it's not illegal to lie in public. It is illegal to lie under oath. So that's why you'll see some people say something on social media. It is completely different when they on the stand.
Yep. And actually, you brought up a good point because I was thinking in my head too, like the way they testified. I was like, are they doing that for to be a hung jury or mistrial? Because it doesn't make sense to lie that many times. Because if you think about it, and I heard this over my lifetime many times, where something like this will happen, where people lie so much they'll throw it out of court. And I'm like, oh, I think that's what they trying to go for because it's like, Meg, why you don't just? I mean, what Meg did, but I'm like, Kelsey, if this is your best friend, you try to fight for it. Why would you not just say this is what happened? You said it in your testimony, but then when you get on stand, then you say something different. And then she remember in the audio now she want to cry like she's the victim. And I'm like, but Meg is the victim regardless of what we thought, because the glass, she stepped on glass that came out for a
Right.
little while. Then she said she actually got, she got hit. And then Kelsey's testimony changed. I'm like, hold up, if this is supposed to be your friend, that's why I'm like, this is it's questionable because I'm like, who does that for their friend?
But that's
If
why
you,
I asked you on the other panel that we just was on,
Mhm.
if that was if you were in that limo, describe to me what led to that argument. Because once you describe when you describe to me what led to that argument, Now you know exactly why the testimonies kept swapping up,
Right.
because they still bitter about each other. They still beefing with each other. They still trying to get back at each
Mm. Which makes no sense whatsoever because, you heard in the part of the audio you heard when she did kind of go back to certain things she said, she still never said they fault. She alluded to the fact that Megan was messing with dudes behind her back, but she didn't just come right out and say it. And like you said in on What We Know podcast on the show, you were like, yo, Meg could have said, yeah, I did mess with him and whatever, but this is what happened. And Kelsey could have been able to tell the truth. So I'm like, why are you trying to protect your identity? And I'm thinking, on the other hand, just hearsay, Meg didn't want to do it because she didn't want to look bad in public eye and mess up her image. But I'm like, screw that. Something actually happened to you. The doctors came out and said it. They showed proof. Something happened to you. We're going to sit here and act like even if she did do that, she deserved to get popped? Hell no. We
other.
see this happen
Exactly.
all the time, and lives get ruined because of stuff like this. I'm not cool with that. I don't care. Like I told you earlier, if Tory did it, please come out and just say he did it, so we don't have to keep going around in limbo about what actually happened. I'm not gonna take up for nobody doing wrong. I don't care if it's male, female, especially child. I'm not taking your side, bro. I'm
But
not
the
taking your side.
problem with that op is that you and I, and look, let's give more people than we typically will give credit for being logical thinkers. But you're asking people who aren't logical thinkers to think logically in an illogical moment. Think
Right.
about who we're discussing right now.
True.
You know what I mean? And so, um, again, if they were grown adults who really cared about their career, they would have been able to keep their story straight from the jump. By the way, if
Mm.
they were grown adults who cared about their career, we talked about that too. I'm glad you actually broke down how Tori ended up kind of being like, "Fuck, I gotta get in this. This is the only ride leaving the house right now, and I can't get
Yeah.
on the Uber, so I gotta hop in this bitch." I get that. Yeah, you just gotta find a way out of that shit. You know what I mean?
Hey, but see, that's the problem because think about this also. With that being said, they say that Quan, his driver, is also like a friend or relative, possibly, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, do I send my family or friend, close friend, home with these women that might act the fool? You know what I'm saying? Or do I get in there, which he didn't do? That we know is true.
The
You
moment
don't
he smashed both of them was the moment he already made
exactly,
the decision.
exactly, and it's like you put everybody else in this limbo. Whether me and you disagree about the events that actually occurred, we can't disagree about as a man what you did wrong. And that's
Yeah.
what we tell guys all the time. It's like, dog, you gotta think with your big head, not your little head. I don't care that like cause she offered me the box. If I'm messing with her friends, soon as she do that, now I know this is what got him in trouble. For me, I may not go and tell the homegirl, but I'm gonna leave the situation alone fully. She try to call me, contact me, unless I get caught in a tight space where we see each other out somewhere and she corners me. I'm not saying nothing. I'm just gonna leave it alone. Like, hey, no, no, I ain't, cause I had to do that in my real life. Like, no, I'm good. I ain't trying to get caught up in this shit. And I'm not gonna say I never done it, got caught up in some stupid crap before.
Yeah,
As a
bro.
young man,
Like
as a
shit
young man though.
happens. Like shit
Oh yeah,
happens. But like I was saying about I say this about Tori. It's like at some point, bro, if you can't even keep your mouth shut in
mm,
this situation, you can't keep your mouth shut in any situation. And this is why it got so messy to the point where he basically got found guilty from just operating sloppy as fuck.
yeah,
Because even you and I would admit, well, or have agreed that, bro, had he just moved a different way, we wouldn't even be talking about this.
true.
You know, and look, I'm not saying like, look, we know what the game is and we know how rappers move, and that's fine.
No, it's not fun. It's really not.
In the scheme of entertainment, whatever.
Yeah, oh,
Like
well, we know what
we're
it
not gonna
is.
control
Yeah,
that,
we know
right?
what it is. Yeah,
This, no matter what, you should not be operating like this. No
yeah,
matter who you are, bro. This is like, what are you doing, Tori? And at the end of the day, like you said, bro, you shot this woman. You got your feelings hurt, regardless of if your feelings being hurt were justified.
No, I didn't say he popped her. You said that.
Look, he got convicted on shooting her, but
He did.
basically he
Yeah,
got
he got
caught up because
convicted
his
of it.
feelings got hurt. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Like,
but see, on my end, I don't think he got caught up because his feelings got hurt. I think he got caught up because his ego was too big. Like you
that's
put
feelings,
yourself in
bro.
a
That for a
situation.
rapper, that's one and the same, bro.
No, I respect that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, I mean, what I'm saying for is our disagreement on him doing it or him not doing it. At the end of the day, you putting yourself in the situation is where you messed up at. This is where you screwed up at. Because actually, matter of fact, I don't know if you heard this in the testimony. Um, Meg is the one that sent the text for Tori to come. When she sent the text and you knew that Kelsey was there, you shouldn't have went.
Right.
That's that's the beginning. First, well, that's the second one. Second one where you could at least alleviated yourself from the situation. You shouldn't have messed with her in the first place because you was messing with her so-called BFF. But so she sent that text, you shouldn't have went. That you
Yeah,
didn't
because
have
you
to even
already
be
know.
there.
And you know why you're right, Op? Because guys need to look at it from, and I bet you're looking at it from or this could be a perspective to look at it.
Right.
If we put ourselves in Tori's shoes, and we know okay, I've smashed Meg and Kelsey. They both gonna be here, and I'm trying to get with Kylie. I already know out the gate I'm going there trying to get with Kylie. But I know for a fact Kelsey is also gonna be there. They two don't know that I'm smashing both of them right now.
Mm.
I see that text and I go anyway. Sorry, bro. He let Jesus take the wheel from there.
But he
Jesus did
stole.
not take the wheel.
Thank you. He didn't let Jesus take the. He looking
Jesus
like,
did
nah, I
not take the
got it.
wheel.
And the Lord is like, Sam, what? Like, no, bruh. Like, you know what you was doing. Now, because Rob brought out the fact it came out that they didn't share it guys before, but you brought up a great point. What does that matter if both of them in this situation don't know?
Right.
It doesn't matter because now, back to what I said earlier, your ego, bro, your ego
Yeah.
made you think, and I get it, especially guy, he's barely 30. I get it. Like, you gonna try some stuff you shouldn't try. You rich, you famous, young black dude out here doing your thing. And it's like, I know he got some good sense somewhere, especially when I seen the stuff his father said. I'm like, bro, you got better sense than that, dog.
I think about what his ego got him caught up in. He really thought he was going to show up to a party where at least two women that he knows smashed,
Hey, he
and
gonna try to
not
go
one
after a
of them
third
was going to
one.
publicly fill up on him while the other one saw it.
And not only that, he tried to go at a third woman that they know. That's what I'm saying. I can't, even though from my perspective, I got reasonable questioning in my opinion, I'm still not gonna let you off the hook, bro. Like, no, you did some stupid crap that led you to this situation. So it's hard
Yeah, you were just
for
moving
us to,
too sloppy.
yeah, how can we focus just on the facts where all this other stuff come into play? It's too much stuff. So I'm not upset with you and other people that disagree. The only thing I dislike is when people is like, "Oh, good for him. He need to go to fry. He need to." I'm like, hold on. If you agree that he got found guilty and he was wrong, I'm not mad at you. Like, you never came out and said in none of these conversations we had, "Yeah, good for that nigga. F him." You never said that. That's the only problem I have with people.
Yeah,
It's like
I
you
think
don't have to
people
be
should
that
be
dirty
careful
with
with
it.
trying to rejoice over shit like this. Like,
Thank
you
you.
don't want it to be true. Like, I don't want it
But
to
I
be
think that's
true
what
that
make you
Tory shot
different.
somebody. You know
But
what I
I think
mean?
that's what make you different from everybody else because you're trying to go off of the things that you do see and the things that came to be true. You got other people out here though, they're like, oh, the hell with him and all that. I'm like, whoa, hold on. That's just like when Kevin Samuels passed, got arrested. So I know there's a lot of women out here that didn't agree with him, but you're not gonna sit here and tell me that when women caught on to him, that's when he blew up and got 1 million subscribers. That all of these people disagree with Kevin and hate him and glad he dead. No, y'all doing a lot of lying. Y'all know he said certain things. I'm not gonna say all, even if it was 10% of what he said these women know that it's stuff that he said that you agree with because certain things that he said, I'm like, I ain't gonna lie to you. I think he does somewhat, at least that want the community to be together, want men and women to be married. Because if you look at the rest of the red pill content creators, the majority of them don't care about marriage. So for this man to still talk marriage, and he's been divorced twice, it's like I can't agree with y'all that you should be happy this man died. Like, no.
It's so on one hand, this man didn't commit any crime, so I'm tired of people acting like I don't know, like some sort of fucking tyrant just died or something like that. Like this guy
Right.
was a social media influencer talk. He was a relationship guru. Like
Yeah.
let's chill with the hate shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the thing with the Kevin Samuels and as it relates to all of this content is the fact that I know I'm a little bit different, but I think more we can help, especially men, get more aware to what's really happening. Because unfortunately, right now with the social media shit, you got that barrier from entertainment to real life is completely gone.
Yeah.
So it's one and the same now, right? And so now
Mhm.
we got to navigate in this new space, and that means giving our young people the correct information on how to navigate this space. Because right now, I can no longer go off of cliches like "don't shoot the messenger," because right now the wrong message is being sent by some really shitty messengers. So I gotta blast the message, the fucking messenger, the whole fucking crib, all that.
Mm. Matter of fact, because I can agree with that. It's certain people that I've seen say certain things, and it's just like, but how you say that on one end, and then you say something else that contradicts that, and then the way you move is hypocritical. Now, it's a difference if
That's
somebody,
what black women. That's why black women and look, I love all women, and I'm not trying to be a simp here, but I think that's the bigger point for black women. It's black men said, "Hey, let's believe black women." No one wanted to believe that Tory shot Meg, except the same criminal justice system that black men want black women to believe are fucking the reason why we can't get ahead. You see what I mean? Like, there's a lot of conflicting messages here. And so it gets down to, well, we're supposed to protect black women. Here's a black man who didn't protect a black woman, but everybody's trying to protect a black man. It's a lot of conflicting
now,
messages.
but see, but you got to throw something in on else on that, right? What about black women doing black women wrong, right?
Oh yeah.
And then will turn around and act like they still trying to protect black women. It's like
No,
it's
I agree.
happening. It's happening on both sides. I think that's where the imbalance is at, right? Like, say, speaking for situations I've seen, and statistically, we can speak on this because the numbers out there. When you have, right, women, not just black women, because we can't sit there at, like, when they bring up white women and say, oh, they doing better than black women, and then certain
Bro,
black women
all
like, we got.
American women right now, it's
Thank
American
you.
women.
Thank you.
American women.
So
Yep.
when you look at certain situations like that, and vice versa, or whatever, black women get, they say black women statistically get married 1 out of 4. White women get married 2 out of 4. And it's like, so we gonna sit here and act like they're just 100%. No, it's a mindset that we got to deal with. So if you got certain black females, because I don't believe it's all, and I appreciate the fact that you said that too. It's not all black men, but
Hmm.
at the same time, it's like, okay, how do we differentiate it where it's certain black men doing wrong, certain black women doing wrong? It like, we can't sit there and pretend and make this facade or this
Be-
blanket over both because it's not
because
helping us.
nobody wants to believe that this shit just applies to some. Like for example, bro, like in order for us to live in this logical world that we want to believe in, guess what we have to stop doing? Generalizing about each other. And every nobody wants to do that.
But see, that's the thing. There are generalities. There are, but I think the only problem
But
is
like rooted,
what.
but see, that's what I'm saying. Like rooted in what though? Like for example, when you bring up the marriage thing or whatever,
Hmm.
You would also agree too. There are plenty of white baby mamas out here, ain't they?
Oh
Just like there's
yeah,
plenty
yeah,
Latino baby mamas, because that's an American thing. That's not race
yeah,
specific.
yeah.
So we got to stop acting and speaking as if that's a race specific thing, because it's not. It's an American thing, bro.
Now,
Yeah.
see, you brought up a great point. I appreciate you for that. That's why I say generalities are important because if we, like you just said, if we make it specific to race, then we're not looking at the mindset of the West, right?
Hmm.
People make it seem as it's just race specific. But if you mean to tell me you can go to a child support office and see Asian women, white women, Hispanic women sitting there waiting to get child support or figure out what's going on with the case, and it's not just black women, then it's like, okay, so y'all trying to make it specific, but in general, the mindset we have in this country is not perfect. It's something that we have to actually address if we want to do better. And if we saying marriage is better, which I do respect the sanctity of marriage. That's why it's like if I ain't finding a right woman, I'm not just gonna get married. But it does not excuse me to have a child out of wedlock. I still have to take responsibility, and I think on men, that's where we mess up. Like if a woman does wrong, you still need to fight and put up with not put up with the bullshit, but you need to put up a fight to show that you actually care about your child. Like keep that olive branch open. Like, no, I want my children or my child to know who I am, regardless of what me and the mama went through. And I think that's one side where the child support system is messed up. Where, and I'm sorry to say it, but I'm just keeping it real. You have women that get in the middle of a man with his children and they
Mm.
take up for it. And then they're able to go get free help from the system to put him on child support, fight him in these cases. And if he want to fight to get his children, then guess what? He got to put up more money. And I got friends that's still going through that to this day. That put up thousands of dollars. They're not rich, but at the same time, we can't act like if you don't decide to do something, we're supposed to do something for you. Like I think that's BS.
So I think the big problem is that I don't equate the two, because for the child support system, I actually really agree, because I got way too many of my homeboys who have been fucked because of some screwed up women in the child support system. You know what I mean? Like
I agree.
I can't stand it. So for example, I know it's not feasible, but one of my solutions to the whole custody thing, child support, would be to instead, it's 50-50 custody as far as like visitation automatic out the gate, like DLC said. But instead of child support, I would make both parents put into a trust fund, like an investment account,
Mm.
that the child could, that each parent has a monthly obligation to insert this amount until the age of 18 or 21 when the child can access this account. That way it's fair and equal and nobody can argue about not investing, insert whatever into. So both parents are responsible for investing into this account, period.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you
I think
because,
that would be a better solution than what's going on right now.
and see, that's the problem. I agree with you. That's the problem I have is because if you mean to tell me, and when I was speaking earlier, is just because the way it is, and then we out here telling our story, right? Be careful about where you plant your seed at. You know what I'm saying? Because once you in it, you in it, and the
Yeah.
system is not right. I ain't gonna say perfect. Nothing's perfect, but it's not right. So I agree with you because you do have some women out there, not all, but some women out there that will actually go get pregnant just so they can get a payday or housing assistance, food stamps, and all that, and not have to really work. You do have some women out there. We've seen it personally, but it's like if all of us that's been through it as
Hey,
men
real
don't
quick, can
try
I
to,
burn on here? Are you gonna trip if I burn on here?
if you gonna have to light, if
Oh yeah,
you
okay.
about to
I'll
just
turn the camera. I'll turn the
turn the
camera.
camera.
Yeah.
So what we got to realize, if we're not going to fight against the situation, why educating young guys, then what can we really say? You know what I'm saying? Like we can keep telling our story. And my thing is, you gonna have women out there that's gonna take other women's side because maybe they've been through something or they've been taught by their mothers or whoever you want to call out. That's like you got to do this, you got to do that, and men are wrong, men are devils, and all that. But it's like you said earlier, it's like That's not all men. And it's like we have to keep fighting against that. So we have to keep educating young men, like, and I think that's what we need to do. Because I remember you said
That's why
something,
I
but
encourage young men to get. I know the prices are going up, but this is why I encourage young men to, like, we got to tell young men to really get their own spot because,
mm,
like, look, my reasons for why I'm not as harsh on the black community and black women is because my overall standpoint is that because the failures of the federal government during the Reconstruction era to commit to Reconstruction, that failure of that obligation to our ancestors is why we're in this shit show today, because us as a black community have just been kind of floating in the societal ether in America with no real solidified foundation, because we missed out on all that generational wealth from the Homestead Acts in the 1800s that our white counterparts got to get. So I think
mm,
we're really missing out on a lot of those generational aspects and a lot of those foundational roots. Like, not everybody was meant to fucking have generational wealth, but we'd be in a lot better position, right? So I think
mm,
that's a big issue. Um, but overall, man, it's like, for what we can do right now, our young men need to get. First off, if you're young, if you're a dude and you got no kids, you should not be talking about you broke, because there's all kind of fucking opportunities out here
yeah.
to go get fucking paid. I don't want to hear shit, right?
Now, hold on. Now, it does depend where you grew up at. Like, if you grew up in a situation, right, where you're trying to help the family out and your parents didn't make the best decision for you, and then you get, trust me, we go through it. You
Then
get
go through
caught
a
up in
trade
that.
school. Go to a
No,
trade
no,
school and get
no,
that
no.
bread.
I get that. But I'm saying, if you're unfortunate, right, where you grew up with selfish parents that put you in a terrible predicament, I think that's what's important for the resources to get, or the knowledge to be out there, because it's I can't believe it, because I agree with what you're saying, but over the last year or two, I had to really check myself, right, when I'm looking at information, statistics, and things. And I'm like, man, you got Google in your phone, your pocket, you can look and see certain
Hmm.
things. But then when you got majority of people around you that tell you the foolishness, and then the rest of them are complicit in it and don't want to say nothing because they want to get along to go along, that's where it becomes an issue. And I'm like, we got to start calling out the people that are bad influences on their own household and community, because you making it difficult for these people to actually say. Matter of fact, I'll tell you this. We didn't get to talk about this yet. For like almost 15 years, I worked at programs in my community that dealt with at-risk youth, right?
That's dope, man.
So
That's dope.
thank you. So I remember so many times for years that parents, when we had, the meetings we were supposed to have with the parents or whatever about what's going on with the children, giving the year updates and all of that, you won't believe how many parents didn't show up, did not care. And a lot of them kids we was having issues with because the parents didn't care. I get that you worked hard, all that. You want to be able to enjoy your paycheck. You took care of your kids what you needed to. But when you have kids, you don't have a solid family unit, and your kids is out there running the street, getting in trouble everywhere. And then you got people in the community, especially black men in the community, trying to keep you updated, work with you, and you don't give a damn because you want to go on a date. You want to go hang out with the fellas. It was, man, you won't believe how sad and disheartening it was that I hate, like, some of us, I ain't gonna say all of us, but some of us used to check parents. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Like,
Bro,
hey,
it's that, but that's what I told you. That hustle culture, that barrier that got removed.
yeah,
So right now it's, bro. I mean, in America, how do you not survive if you're not a workaholic, bro? It's like, think about it, man. Even if you're in a stable household, if you don't have enough income to sustain the household, think about that. In one hand, you and I preach the importance of a traditional household, whatever the fuck you want to define that. Just, hey, have your parents in the house, right? But yet we live in a country where a man's worth is completely tied to how many hours he puts in at work. So think about it. We got married men who see their kids just as often as a single parent with joint custody anyway,
Right.
because he's putting in 60, 70, 80 hours a week. So he only sees his kids on the weekends, if that.
True.
So what
But
good was that marriage? So what is that kid learning in that marriage? That the only that in order for dad to be a dad, he has to actually never be home. What is that? What message is that sending?
see, I think that's the biggest problem is men have been not only to a certain degree pushed out of the household, but pushed out of the mind frame that they're important. Like me as a father, I'm going through that, right? And it's
Mm.
sad because I'm not saying I'm perfect, but at the same time, it's like, yo, I want to teach my son to be better than me. But for you to come in here and let the devil use you on some wicked shit, and I say this I say this now as it come to me is like we got some women out there that nurture our children with poison. Because you got to think for the people that do have family homes, or at the least two parents that are there for their children, even if they're in separate homes, you will have certain women that try to poison other women's mind, and then you got other guys that end up being like, "F it, I don't care no more." And I think that's the shit that we have to fight against. And I'm not saying that
Well,
everybody
that's the
has to do
problem,
it.
Op. It's a lot of these. We have to admit a lot of these children. Yes, they are being raised by single mothers. Emphasis on mothers.
Hmm.
Right? We always say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, guess what? These children are being raised by a village of mostly women. What are just I need more. I know some of the guys got excuses, but the majority of the men don't. Our guys got to get back into that village, man.
But see, now I'm glad you said it because this is my point of contention, right? My thing is because I hear this all the time, and I got a problem with that. For because I'm hearing a lot of women that say men need to come back to their homes. I'm like, no, no, it's about men being in the community because relationships. And that's another thing. Penis is not gonna fix everything. Just oh, I'm happy in my relationship now. We can raise our kids better. Is that's the biggest thing issue that I do have with some single mothers is talking about that from that perspective. No, if you got
Right, but
men
see, my wife talks from that perspective. You see what I mean? And here's what they
for
mean by that.
relationships,
Yeah. So I've
okay,
been just to let you know, right? I got married when I was 20. I'm 35 now. So in April I'll be married for 15 years.
congratulations.
Thank you, man. What women mean by that is when you actually, as a man, spend time with your family, from
Hmm.
the woman's perspective, a man is spending time with her because her spending time with her man is automatically spending time with the family. It's one and the same. And that's actually a really true thing. Like so for
Mm,
us, we really think so like when my wife wants to go to these like little places or whatever like that, that's just spending time. Like because women are naturally they're women, they're social butterflies. They want to be outside, they want to take photos with a man and shit like that. They want to do those sort of things. Well, guess what? You can't do that kind of shit if your man's coming home at 9 o'clock at night and the kids are already in bed because they got school in the morning.
but think about this: if a woman is dealing with a man in these cases, right?
Yeah.
That's a cheater. That woman is not gonna care that you coming home to spend time with her and the family if she know you out there cheating and running the streets.
You know what
If
you know what dudes mess up at with cheating? As a dude who's not perfect, and my wife has let's just say I am a born again husband, if you will. I've had some sins I've had to confess.
right,
uh what men get screwed up, and this is what saved me. Women will forgive some silliness.
right,
What they won't forgive is you calling a whole other woman your girlfriend. What they won't forgive is you getting some other chick knocked up because now you just embarrass them in public,
yeah, they ain't with that.
right? Because like if you got caught with some throwaways,